All right, welcome back to Trimble Garage. So today something, again, a little bit different, but today I'm going to be working on my racing mower. Don't ask me what year it is, I have no idea. But there's a race coming up on Canada Day, that's July the 1st, and I need to get this thing ready to go. There's a few more things I need to do on this, and I want to get it tip-top shape, so unlike last year where it was completely unreliable, this year I want to take the race win. So, and you guys will be coming along for the ride. So let's look and see what I got to do to this thing. So other than giving this thing a nice clean, what it does need is a throttle return spring. The clutch needs a bit of a tweak so that I can make it work. It's kind of a custom clutch setup. And I'll just open this hood up here. To get to the battery in this thing, it's way down in there. To jump start this thing's a bit of a pain in the butt if the battery goes low or if I want to charge it. So what I'm going to do is actually add a couple of battery terminals that'll stick out the front bumper, and that way I can just pop these covers off and use it to jump start this tractor if I need to, or charge it. Just gonna make it a lot easier. So let's get to it. So with the air cleaner removed, basically what I'm gonna do with this spring here, I'm gonna undo this clip which is holding the wire. I'm gonna loop the wire throttle cable through this connector and then have the spring. I'll get a screw in here and I'll attach the spring over to here, and that should do it. The last spring I had, it was just sitting and I had it hung on the motor. It popped off and the throttle stuck wide open. So that was a bit sketchy. So this time I don't want to have that happen. All right, there we go. Put a screw in the in this boss here on the intake manifold, cut the spring to length, made a loop on it, looped it on there. And now the throttle return spring works perfect. You can see down the throttle, closes all the way. I don't have to worry about this thing crashing now. All right, let's work on this clutch spring. So the way my clutch is set up is with the lever that would normally lower your mowing deck. I've got it set up where when you push it forward, it tensions up this pulley, and when you release it back, what I need to do is put a spring on here to pull this pulley farther back so I've got a little bit more belt slack, because it's not letting the belt stop so that I can shift it into gear. And what I did is I went to my local parts store and just bought an assortment of springs. There's some heavy springs in there, and I'm going to put a spring from here over here somewhere, and that'll help pull this back when I release the spring tension off this this bar. Okay, see if I can show you what I need to do here. So basically, this wheel, I'm underneath here. You can see when I pull the spring this way, the clutch, it pulls it into the belt. So what I'm gonna do is hook this spring somehow around there and tie it in on this side. I might have to weld a little bracket over here that I can hook this onto. And then I'll undo this bolt on here, put this through the bolt right there. And that should work. I think that's the easiest thing to do is just weld a little bracket there, get the welder out and tack something on there, see what we can do. All right, I got that spring there. There was a hole. Let's see if you can see it down here. There was a hole in the frame that I just put the hook into. So I think that's definitely got more slack on the belt now. So when I let the clutch all the way back, I should have some sliptivity here. The next thing is the power for the little terminal leads, remote terminal leads. All right, so I decided that I'm going to put these off to the side. Instead of making them symmetrical, I think it'll look kind of cool more over to one side. So that's what I'm going to do is put these about 3-4 inches apart. So it's an 1.25 inch drill. I've already looked inside, and actually, I'm going to make sure that this great big nut can fit on the inside. Yeah, this will fit just inside. So I've got to make sure I get this centered. So I think I'm going to actually pre-drill those. All right, I got those kind of drilled out. Not too easy to do with a spade bit, but anyway, I'm using my Dremel tool now. I went a little bit smaller on the drill because these are just a little bit under 1.25 inches. I want a really nice smooth fit. So I drilled it 1 inch. So I'm just going to open this up with my Dremel tool and fit them. All right, that's got those in there. So now I'll put the big nut on the back here, and then I'll attach the wires to the battery, and I'll have a remote battery terminals. They're freaking huge, but that's what I got. All right, so that's pretty much got that done. The battery tender is hooked up to it, which oh man, it's so much nicer just be able to plug it in like that. And now, what's the next thing to do? I think I got to adjust the toe. I think the toe is out. I think it's toe in quite a bit, so I'm going to adjust the toe on it. So looking underneath, you can see I've got an adjustable sort of link there. It's a left and a right hand thread on here, so I can just turn this big center nut and adjust them, and then I got my 2 jam nuts. And that should be it. Unfortunately, this thing does have a bit of an oil leak. I'm hoping it's not really getting on the belt, but it does leak oil everywhere. I did a rebuild on this engine, and I don't know why it's leaking on the main crank, but it is. But anyway, let's get this tie rod adjusted. Okay, so this thing's ready to take for a test drive. Thought I would explain what I did to this mower to make it as fast as it goes. It goes around 35 miles an hour, which is plenty fast. Basically, the first thing, just undo the motor cover, is originally it was a 12 horse, I believe. Maybe it was a 15, I'm not sure. But anyway, I put a 18 horse in here, shoehorned an 18 horse twin cylinder Briggs & Stratton. It's been, the block's been machined. Block's machined, the head's machined down, so I got a little bit more compression. Also ported it. I also lowered the frame, notched the axle 4 inches, actually more like, yeah, about 4 inches. Cut it up into the frame here and notched it all the way up. Had to cut out this for the rear axle assembly to clear, but you also see a nice little motorcycle exhaust coming out the back. This is your brake. The other side is your throttle. And as I explained before, this is your clutch. You basically pull it all the way forward, lock it in there, and you're gone. I also, for giggles, I wanted to have a sort of a police theme, so it's to turf and protect. So when you turn this on, I put a police light package in it. So there's different strobe effects, but yeah, so I put strobes on. So if anyone gets in my way, I'll let them know. And to start this thing, make sure I'm in neutral because I want to make sure this clutch works. To start it, turn your ignition on, and there's a little start button here. That's your kill switch. It basically grounds the coil and stops it. But it's a noisy thing. Yeah, this thing's an awesome thing if you want to piss the neighbors off, because I go ripping up and down the road sometimes, and yeah, it's quite loud. But yeah, I think I might just, I should be able to get past the car and the little truck. I'm gonna go take this thing for a little rip, see how the clutch is. All right, so that's gonna do it. Just a quick little video on this racing mower. The next video I'll put out with this thing in it will actually be on Canada Day, where there's a big lawnmower racing event going on. I went to it last year for the first time ever. Man, it was a blast, and I really look forward to sharing it with you guys and take you along for the ride. I'm gonna have some onboard GoPro cameras and see what kind of carnage we can capture on film. So yeah, stay tuned for that one. So yeah, thoughts and comments down below. Thanks for watching, and have yourself a great day.